Vamos a seguir con un tema que nos invita a reflexionar en tiempos donde la inteligencia artificial está en todos lados y no queremos pensar mucho. ¿Cómo mantenemos el toque humano? Y para eso está acá Kyle Siemens hoy con nosotros, que se vino desde Alemania, es canadiense. Y bueno, es un referente internacional en certificaciones de testing. Y es alguien que ya nos ha acompañado en Uruguay alguna que otra vez. And so we now move on to a topic that invites us to reflect. And in times where AI seems to be everywhere, how do we not lose our human touch? So that's what Kyle Siemens is here for. He's Canadian, but he came here all the way from Germany, and he's the co-founder and CEO of the Brightest, and they offer international software testing certifications all over the globe. So welcome, Kyle, and enjoy.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you. Oh wow, big screen. So there's a slight change in the plans. Well, it's very similar to what you would have read, but yes, I'm going to focus on critical thinking today. So thank you for coming to spend some time with me and getting to know what my ideas are. It's going to be a bit of a travel through my past and also what I studied in my master's. Yes, so me, I'm Kyle, typically considered to be human, which is good in these days. Originally from Winnipeg, Canada, as mentioned, so right in the middle of the prairies, and now I'm living in Berlin, Germany for nearly 2 decades. I moved there for my master's. I love Halloween, so I actually earned money scaring people, and apparently I was good at it, so imagine. My first job was a cook at the age of 14 in a 24-hour truck stop on the #1 highway, only road in Canada, according to South Park. I have a bachelor's in mathematics and German literature. Weird combination, but who's normal? What's normal? I don't know. A master's in teaching German as a foreign language, and this is where it gets into the whole master's degree topic of critical thinking and how to instill it into students. I won't tell you how, because you're going to witness it. And I'm the CEO and owner of Brightest. We're a global certification provider. And I'm a co-creator of the United Certification Portfolio. If you need more information, come on out to the booth. We've got all sorts of flyers, also in Spanish. And in the authoring committee of the ISTQB CTAI syllabus. And promoting ethical Gen AI and prompt engineering in the workplace. So that's me. Why this topic? So I've spent most of my career in education, marketing, and certification, helping others prove what they know, helping organizers measure their quality. And lately it's been changing faster than ever. Because AI and large language models are completely reshaping how we learn and even think. Now don't get me wrong, I use AI every single day, probably like most of you. It can write, analyze, generate text cases, and even give relationship advice, sometimes with horrifying confidence. But here's the catch. The better AI gets, the more critical our human skills must become. Judgment, curiosity, empathy, and the ability to ask good questions. Because AI can process information, but only we can understand the greater meaning. And that's what this session is really about. AI is learning how to keep the human touch and make our work and world better. So curiosity and humanity. Because we're going to go down an interesting path, and you'll get to that very soon, I thought we needed a little mascot to join us. So we have Axolotl, the axolotl. Who here knows what an axolotl is? We've got a few hands. So basically it's this almost, well, that's superhuman, super being thing that can regenerate all its parts. And, well, just about all its parts, I think. And yeah, you can find it in Xochimilco in Mexico. It's one of the only places here, in case you're wondering where that is. You might recognize Senior Performo. And, oh, we have another person actually who's speaking at this conference on that boat there. This was a couple years ago in Mexico when we did an event there. So here you can get in boats and have a mariachi band join your boat, or a bar, or another family, whatever. If you haven't been, check it out. Maybe you'll see an axolotl as well. So now we're going to go into our first imagination exercise. So I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes and touch your nose so I can see, because I can't see your eyes when you're ready. Now, picture the place where you grew up. What memories come to mind? Who are the people around you? What does the place smell like? How does it make you feel? What activities brought you the most joy? If you have siblings, how did you interact with them? Did you always get along? Did you sometimes clash? Who was your closest friend at the time? Now here's the twist. Imagine what would have happened if you were born on the other side of the world, or at a different time, say 200 years earlier, 200 years in the future. A weird question to ask, but just think about it for a second, so you can try and guess what would you suspect or expect in this situation. It might be relevant for later when we get to the next exercise. You can open your eyes. And I apologize if you needed to read the translation. I'm sorry, I didn't think about that. And so how do humans actually learn? So who out there has children? Do we have any parents in there? All right, we've got a few. So they're all that, but why? But how? When is it going to happen? What can I do now? What can I expect? It's quite amazing, actually, how you see a child and they're so excited to learn and eager to take on this more information. And this is the way that we see that there are different ways that people can learn. So through experience, trial, error, and reflection, by observation, watching, listening, and modeling behaviors, by making connections, linking new information to what we already know, from other people, teaching, mentoring, and collaboration, through structured learning, schools, books, and courses, and for me, what I find most important, personal preference, through curiosity and making mistakes, asking questions and exploring. Now we've got exercise number 2. This one comes with a little bit of a trigger warning, so well, you might want to watch the translation anyway, but try and think anyway if possible. This one comes from personal experience with long word. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm kind of interested if I spell something, if it's going to say it up there, because it's a German word. But let's see. VERGENTUNGEN. I hope I spelled that right. Anyway, so bingo. No, this is the one word in German, and that word, could anyone guess what that could possibly mean? Germans have a bit of a weird history, so it's coming to terms with the past, and they have a word for that. So this is kind of like a little bit of a clue as to what the topic might be that's coming up, because even if we weren't involved in whatever's happened there, of course we feel somewhat responsible for what our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents might have done, even if we don't know, because many didn't talk about it. But let's try this and see what happens. So close your eyes. Feel free to open them or read if you need some support. And here we go. This time, let's move the year to 1910. There's no internet, no computers, no TV. The only way to learn about the world is through printed newspaper, and what people say around you. You are born in a particular European country, one associated with lederhosen, pretzels, and large mugs of beer, especially in the fall. After 1918, life improved a little, but there are family members you'll never get to meet as a result of a devastating war. As you grow into your teenage years, things look brighter. Then the propaganda drums begin faintly in the background. Ba-doom, ba-doom. In the winter of 1929, you lose your job. You wonder why. You've done nothing wrong. Unemployment rises, industry collapses, friends lose their jobs too. The drums of propaganda start quietly and grow louder. Businesses close, loans fail, the drums beat stronger still. You begin trading family heirlooms for food to keep your children healthy. The drums grow louder, now pointing blame at certain minorities. Posters that once looked like jokes, showing violent messages, calling for action. Friends and neighbors begin repeating the messages they see printed on these posters. Sometimes as jokes, sometimes with anger. The drums get louder. With your eyes still closed, ask yourself, what would I do in this situation? How do I feel? You can open your eyes now. It's not a pleasant thought. Well, probably not a pleasant thought. But it's essential, and this was something that I learned going through school, to put myself into a situation imagining what my grandparents may have had to decide. And it makes you think what's really true and what's causing issues that we need to ask questions for. And here's the hard truth. It's unfortunately not a unique story. Similar patterns still play around the world today. But why would we do this exercise? Apart from we're all together in maybe a safe space. But it shows us something uncomfortable. Humans do not learn in a vacuum. We learn from our environment, from the people around us, and from the narratives that are repeated sometimes so often they begin to feel like truth. It's easy for us sitting here to say, I would have done something differently. But history shows us most people fall into the pattern of the drums. It's not because they're evil, but because they didn't perhaps stop to ask the question, or they felt it was pointless to do something, or there was nothing they could do. For me, the key is critical thinking. Critical thinking is what helps us recognize when information is biased, when answers are being fed to us, when the volume of the drums is rising. It's what allows us to step back and ask, is this really true? What's the evidence? And most of all, what are the alternatives? This is why in times of rapid change, whether in history or in our age of AI, critical thinking becomes more than just a skill, but in my opinion, a survival tool. Testing is thinking. We don't just run checks, we question behavior, context, and its impact. AI can help us automate checks, but it can't replace our questioning. Here are just some questions to reflect on. Don't worry, you don't have to close your eyes. We won't do that anymore. When did I last accept something as true without questioning it? When have I ever shared a fact without checking it? Why do simple explanations feel so convincing in uncertain times? And what tools help me when my drums are being heard today? So what is critical thinking, and how can we do it? It could be defined as the ability to objectively analyze and evaluate information, ideas, situations, to form well-reasoned judgment. It usually involves, and this might sound familiar to some of your job roles, questioning assumptions, identifying bias and hidden agendas, seeking evidence before drawing conclusions, considering multiple perspectives, reflecting on the implications of decisions. Many of things a lot of us are probably doing in our daily work in QA or many other places actually. We need to ask these questions, be critical, and utilize the knowledge we have to ensure they are accurate. So what can AI do? I'm not here to scare you away from AI. AI can check if a feature works, but it can't yet sit in the user's shoes and ask, does this feel right? Is this accessible? Will users trust it? AI can pass an exam, write poems, even give relationship advice, as mentioned before. But it can't turn to your colleague and say, are you okay? And really mean it. AI can write test cases, fix bugs, and push code. However, when communicating with your colleagues who developed that code, will it be able to read the room, ask the tone, say, I know this is frustrating, but we'll fix it together? This one you don't have to close your eyes for. It's more of a fun one, I promise. So, cars. People are weird. So, think of the time when standard cars were the norm and automatic cars became quite relevant. Because shifting gears seemed to feel like people were in control, even though for most drivers, the car actually performs better when it handles itself. But here's the thing. Are we really in control if we're driving a standard car? Or just pushing or performing control? In many cases, automation, whether in cars or in testing, it doesn't remove control, it shifts it to a higher gear. Automatic cars improve usability and accessibility, reduce human error, and free up attention for what really matters, getting safely from A to B. That's the same when we work with AI. The goal isn't to give up control. It's to design systems where we guide automation rather than micromanaging it. In testing, that means using AI to handle repetitive shifts so we can stay focused on the road ahead, the context, the quality, and the human impact. Next topic, toast. I know it's a bit weird, but this is what I think about sometimes. Moving on from cars, something a little more old school, let's think about a toaster, my grandmother's toaster. So 60 years ago, she bought this toaster, and it lasted 40 years. It was quite impressive. It probably weighed 10 times what a toaster weighs today. It was very durable. We finally convinced her to get rid of it because it seemed to have developed a new feature. If you didn't manually intervene and pop the toast, it would burn down your house. Luckily, it didn't get that far. But the whole thing would get so hot you couldn't even touch the outside of the toaster. It could have just burned through everything. But this makes you think, why don't we build them like that anymore? It lasted 40 years, and that feature came quite late. Well, over time we realized good design isn't just about durability. It's about usability, safety, and learning from human behavior. We added timers, sensors, automatic shutoffs, features that let humans trust technology instead of constantly watching it. That's the same evolution we're seeing with AI today. Early tools, like that old toaster, impressive but risky if left unattended. As we mature, we're learning where automation needs guardrails and where human oversight really matters, and how to design systems that work with us, not just for us. When we consider the rise of AI and LLMs, there are rapid advancements happening all the time. From ChatGPT, who knows what number's coming out tomorrow. But it's in everything from education, healthcare, and other fields. They are transforming our routine tasks, which is great. Chatbots and virtual assistants powered by LLMs are automating customer support. Things that maybe are not relevant to have a human intervening unless it gets really complicated. Automatically generating test cases, identifying bugs, and predicting potential system failures based on the historical data. But it's important to remember that smashing together or clubbing information is not necessarily the same as understanding or intelligence. Required analysis and frequent checks are not necessarily given. We have to do them. In the automation of information processing isn't the same as understanding. It's actually where the humans come in. So AI can check if a feature works. However, we can't let AI run free. In fact, we have more work monitoring as we take on a different role. So if people are saying that we're going to lose our jobs to AI, I would be questioning myself, what is my job and how much do I like it? Because in general, AI is going to produce a lot more test cases that still need to be monitored and checked, and this is actually where the humans are required and needed. But that's my opinion. There is a unique value of human skill. Critical thinking and judgment, where AI can possess vast amounts of data, but it lacks the nuanced understanding and judgment required for complex decisions. AI can generate outputs, but true innovation often comes from combining ideas in unpredictable ways. Humans are quite unpredictable. Humans excel at understanding context, complex emotions and motivations, which are crucial in leadership and team collaboration. And let's not forget about the ethics. Humans in the loop, for me, equals testers in the loop. AI is powerful, but it needs human context, judgment, and oversight. Some examples, and I'll just name a couple because I don't know, I think I'm using too much time. But software testing, if we're going to think of exploratory testing, human intuition uncovers what automation misses, uncovering risks that no data set could predict. AI-assisted testing, using LLMs to generate ideas, but critically reviewing the outputs before implementing them. In quality assurance, root cause analysis, human reasoning connects dots across the teams. Contextual understanding, software quality depends on real environments and users. In project management, stakeholder communication, managing the expectations with empathy. This is something I'd love to see AI figure out. It will at some point, I guess. AI accelerates tasks, but humans provide the meaning. True value comes when developers, testers, AI specialists, and business leaders collaborate across disciplines, ensuring many different perspectives and experiences are taken into account. So now we get into the ethics. In testing, testers can design test data, but deliberately are inclusive. So, such as different genders, names, neurodiversity, and demographics to check for unintended bias. It's never perfect, but we can try. In testing, QA teams can verify that AI system log decision criteria in a way humans can review. This may include traceable output logs, explainable reports, or clear disclaimers for end users. In testing and project management, please keep the humans in the loop for root cause analysis, ethical considerations such as user privacy, or handling customer complaints that require empathy and nuance. AI can be a guide, but as humans, we remain accountable for those actions. skill development in the age of AI. So consider upskilling in data literacy, prompt engineering, and AI management. There's a need for continuous learning to remain in the rapidly changing landscape, and I encourage you to focus on skills that complement AI rather than compete with it. The quality of your question determines the quality of your collaboration with AI. So if you want better AI results, you should probably debug your thinking, not just your prompts. The road ahead, I promise, not much longer. In the next 2 to 5 years, balanced collaboration means shifting conversation from will AI replace testers to how do we work smarter together. We let AI handle repetitive and mechanical tasks, and we invest our human energy into curiosity, empathy, judgment, and questioning. That's where new roles will emerge. And I just made these up. I don't know if it's really true. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as some examples, we can imagine AI quality analysis, prompt architects, ethical testing leads. Who knows what else is coming? But roles that are built directly on what testers already do, asking what could go wrong, spotting bias, challenging assumptions, and keeping fairness and safety in focus. The key is not just to adapt AI, but to shape how it's used. If we only adapt, we let technology define our profession. If we stay critical, we influence how quality is defined in an AI-driven world, and testers have always collaborated to improve systems. AI is just another system. It's an incredible system that even learns from us. The future isn't AI versus testers. It's testers and AI working together to define what makes sense for humans. Remain human and know what you learn, know how you learn. In software terms, this is a bit trying to put a visual to how I've seen it. In software terms, an API is an interface, serving as the bridge that allows two systems to communicate. AI is one system, powerful but mechanical, lacking understanding. The tester, or human, in the other, creative, contextual, and hopefully ethical. Critical thinking is the interface that connects the two, the structured way humans interpret, query, and validate what AI produces. So just like an API, let two systems talk. Critical thinking aids how we interact with AI, asking the right questions, validating responses, and translating between the data and the real world meaning. Here's some other questions to consider. Do you learn best from experience or the experience of others? Do you allow yourself to truly experience failure? How does your curiosity impact your learning? Have you ever imagined what it's like to be on the other side of a given situation? Kind of similar to what we tried to do earlier. Remaining critical. I would like to reinforce the importance of staying adaptable and embracing AI as a tool, not a threat. Encouraging your team the importance of collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking as essential skills for the future. And on a positive note, AI isn't here to replace us, but to amplify our potential. We begin by asking how humans learn. We end by realizing that teaching machines makes us better learners. That's what will keep us testing and our humanity relevant. Stay curious, keep asking better questions, and use AI to amplify what makes you uniquely human. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kai. Thank you for giving us the space to think. So, anyone has any questions?
Hi, my name is Miguel Villalobos. And first, I would like to appreciate for your presentation because I see everywhere talking about the latest stack of technology, how we could innovate with these performance metrics and numbers, but we always forget about humanity. And I know it's not a common topic coming from a software engineer. At least for me, it's fundamental because we are humans using technology. So my question is, it's more like the process before the presentation. What motivated you to talk this topic? Because it's not an easy one, and we could keep talking about it like for 2, 3, 4 hours because we touch also ethical topics, philosophical topics. How do you manage to convey to this presentation, if you could answer that?
Yes, of course. Actually, for me, it's also a very personal topic because my grandparents, well, in this case, are from Germany and my studies, but I also seen the relevance in remaining critical with what's going on now with a lot of automation tasks which have already happened, but now also taking it a step further and adding thinking and decision making into that aspect potentially. And that's actually what kind of scares me, and that's why I'm not trying to say AI is bad, but actually on the contrary, that we have to figure out and use it responsibly. And in Germany, they take that to an extreme. What use it responsibly means, okay, hide it away, only use some special LLM or whatever so that no data is shared or whatever. But also, I think that there's ways to regulate it, and then there's ways to use it usefully. And this is what was going through my mind, and actually that's how the name of the topic just changed probably 7 or 8 times going through. And I thought actually the main focus is critical thinking, and probably if you were doing a drinking game, every time I said critical thinking, you probably wouldn't be sitting anymore. But this is for but this is for me with what's most important is that we're actually then putting ourselves into the roles of another one, and we know it's not really possible because even if you're all from the same place, and I know you're not, I can see some different locations already in the room, but if you were all from the same place, and even if you had all the same experiences, your grandparents may be from other places, they might have different experiences, in your home you would have had a different experience, and so it's impossible to fully put your mind into someone else's shoes. But I think it's useful to try, and this is where for me, it really worked to expand my thinking of and being respectful of others, because usually when someone reacts in a certain way, it's because there's for a reason. I mean, we're not talking about a perfect, nasty person out there that might exist. I don't know. But I think as we're all good people, we just all have our experiences or our things that we've experienced. And I think then bringing that into AI as a group and collectively analyzing can be the great guardrails that we actually need to do it, and not just put massive stops to things or heavily pull the brakes, but actually form the way forward together. Sorry for the long answer.
Anyone, any other question? I have one. How can we encourage people to think critically?
That's probably a good question and different for absolutely everyone. I think the most important is try and reflect on yourself and not make yourself crazy and that you reflect on everything and worry about what you said in every word, whatever, but really try and think, okay, what did happen in certain situations, whether it's private life or in your working life, and just think about, okay, what could have gone differently? Obviously, don't do that about everything because it really will drive you nuts. But it is relevant to do it from time to time because that can help you just get to know yourself better. And I think once you really know yourself, then you can make probably better decisions of what's right for you and what feels comfortable. And probably, if you've done a lot of thinking, what feels comfortable for you is probably pretty okay for the rest of the world.
Thank you so much.
Cool.